The first one that's going to come in is Luke. All right, so our next guest that's going to come in is Chris Chick. We're going to go to Mr. Jen Wong. Somehow outfishes most of the big boys with the jet boats from shore. Laura Yeats is here to defend the shore's honor. Mark Mercer is here to fight Chris. And Mark Mercer is going to defend the shoreline. Brandon's also here. So we have Brandon. Hello and welcome to episode number 37 of the NJ Multi-Species Podcast. I am your host, Joe Santiago, and once again, as usual, my partner, Chris Pereira.
Here I am.
We haven't...
Not sponsored by Old Spice like Joe is.
Am I still? Yeah, that's empty. I got to refill it. They need to send me some more. Interesting episode tonight. There seems to be like a gang of guys that shore fish that want to fight us. So basically, we're going to debate this shore fishing versus boat fishing shit. Get this settled once and for all. Because me and Chris are convinced that shore fishing is basically just for a person that doesn't have a boat and cannot have a boat. And they're making excuses to make it seem cool. But in reality, they just can't have a boat.
Well, I mean, it's not just that. That's putting it kind of oversimplifying it. But, yeah, I think that I'm not going to fish from shore unless it's the best option, which it very rarely is, unless you're talking about, carp fishing maybe, something like that. Or if you have no other option, whether it's a time restraint or you're too cheap to pay for gas. I don't know. I mean,
well, what we're going to do is we're going to let them in one by one, and we're going to hear their arguments. The first one that's going to come in is Luke.
Luke is ready.
Luke, yeah, he has us muted, and he needs to turn his phone to the side, but it seems ready. Can you hear me, Luke?
Well, Let's get him settled in, and then we'll...
Yeah, Luke, you have to click on mute at the bottom. Click the
I'm
mic.
unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Now turn your phone sideways.
Can pull my phone sideways like this.
There you go.
It's not flipping.
It's not in landscape mode. All right, just go back to how you had it. All right, so how are you here to convince me that you're stuck on shore just because you're seasick? You have no argument at all. If you didn't get seasick, you'd be both.
Hold on. Let's not just throw him in here. I mean, Luke's our friend. Let's not just throw him. All right, so Luke, you bought a boat recently for freshwater fishing.
Correct. Can you hear me? Am I live?
Yeah, you're good.
And say hi. Hi, Chris. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hey, guys. Hey, Chris. Hello, Luke.
Wait, can you try pronouncing my last name?
How do you say it?
No, you want to try it.
I don't even know what it is. Le Pereira? What? I don't remember what it...
Perfect. That's it.
You nailed it.
Got it first try.
I don't even remember what his name is. It starts with an L. I know that.
I can tell you what my phone calls you when I call you from the truck.
He's in the phone as Luke. That's all I got. It's Luke.
Oh, my truck, when I say call Luke, it says, okay, I'll call Luke the Puke. That's how he's in my phone. Luke the Puke.
Great.
A lot of guys call him Ralph, too.
Ralph is great. I take Ralph.
Well, all right. So Luke bought a freshwater boat not too long ago because you wanted to experience, that whole aspect of fishing.
Yes.
You've been with me on one saltwater adventure.
Oh yeah, that one.
It was
It was an adventure for you. It was more of like a eternal punishment for me.
Yeah, it was about 10 hours of puking for you.
Yeah, a lot of dry heaving, honestly.
For very few times in my life have I felt so bad that I didn't even like. I felt so bad I didn't even want to make fun of you or take a picture or film it or anything. I actually felt bad.
Thank you, Chris.
Anyway,
We've
so
already heard the story. We've heard him die. We've heard him carried off the boat dead. He's here to sell me on why I'm going shore fishing. He hasn't done anything like that yet at all in any way.
So, is this episode just about shore fishing or surf fishing?
I mean, it was going to be about surf fishing, but Facebook turned it into a war of boats versus non-boats.
We're gonna bring in a couple of guys
and girls.
Okay, and girls. You for an example, you're a new surf fisherman. You just kind of picked it up
last year.
No, he didn't just pick it up. He's been sentenced to die there because he gets seasick. He didn't pick it up.
There was when I was in my dry heaving phase off North Carolina, a god came up and said, "You got to shore fish now for the rest of your life."
He's actually the poster child of shore fishing. He's doomed to stay there. It's not his fault.
But there has to be. You've talked to other shore fishermen, Luke, right? There has to be some shore surf fishermen that choose to do it. Maybe not just because they get seasick.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of surf fishermen out there when I go out, especially when it's like really hot. Like there's a blitz going on, and people just come up to you. I don't even approach them myself. They see me, it's like they just chat with me. It's really nice out there, honestly. The one reason I go surf fishing is for just this weird magic that you can't compare anywhere else. I want to leave this podcast saying that you live in New Jersey. You haven't experienced like a striped bass blitz. You're doing it wrong. You got to experience that. It's like totally magic compared to anything else.
When I'm riding out in a boat and I see the striped bass blitz, and I've done it 8 times already the last 8 weekends, and I just want to go tog fishing or sea bass, I drive over those fish to get the hell away from them so I can go bottom fishing.
It's different on the beach. Everyone here is from Jersey mostly. You love the beach, right? There's a different magic being on the beach and catching.
I'll accept it for shark fishing. That's it.
No.
These people that you're talking to is just a large gathering of people that get seasick and have really short driveways. That's all they are. They're there because they're forced to be there. I don't know.
There's a totally different magic to surf fishing. I mean, outside of striped bass too. I was surf fishing for fluke all summer. Actually, I was going out of my way just to catch barely even keepers out of the surf. They're just totally so much fun.
What about when it comes to freshwater now? You'll go completely, always take your boat, right? You're not going to go from shore too much.
No, I go from shore. I mean, a lot of the freshwater fishing I love to do is rivers and wading. I'm not sure if you count wading as
shore
fishing.
I'm
rivers don't
count that because see, here's my whole thing with the shore fishing and the surf fishing. It's the major negative of it is you're restricted to the shoreline. Wading a trout stream you're not restricted. You can wade wherever you want. It's basically you're just fishing a spot that you can't access with a boat.
Some rivers are big enough where you can't, so like safely.
I'm talking about the smaller ones, but
yeah, smaller.
Generally speaking, if I have enough time, let's say it's a weekend day, I have all day, and you say, "Hey, you want to go surf fishing?" I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna jump on someone's boat and go fishing from a boat. Like what? How could you convince me to go surf fishing with you if I can get on a boat and go fishing?
You ever try it once or try it?
Yeah,
Do you?
what do you mean when you say like the striper blitz, like everyone should experience it? Like, what about when
Yeah,
we're in the boat surrounded by the football field of just fish bombing? Like, isn't it similar? What's the big difference?
I mean, I've seen videos of it. I haven't experienced it on a boat, honestly, but on the beach, it's like a different kind of world going on. You have the world of land and the world of sea coming together, and they're just before you, they're like bait fish getting washed up on shore. You can like see them blitzing like out of the wash. The wash is like one of the cooler parts about surf fishing. You just see all that mayhem happen before you along like the tumbling waves and stuff.
But
And
you
just being
just
on
walk.
land just nice
You
for me.
just I mean, you obviously you need confidence to fish. You got to fish like you know they're there. But you're just walking up this giant beach, just casting. How do you keep confidence that just keep walking, keep casting? Eventually, you'll catch something.
I kind of don't have a lot of good success doing that. Like if there's not a blitz, I don't really catch much. I am pretty much just praying for a blitz to happen because that's what I look forward to. That's
And the
what
blitz
I
is
kind of seek out.
the blitz. You see the birds, or you don't see the birds.
Sometimes you don't see the birds. Sometimes the first time in October that happened, there was no birds around, but I saw the schools of bays like there's no birds on this shit. And then suddenly it just turned on like that. You just start seeing them jump everywhere. And then the birds came in. But it was just totally cool to see like a cloud of dark bait in the wash and just casting at it for a while, just like, why isn't there any fish on this? And then it turns on and you straight bass come in.
So far, most of what you've done, you're relying heavily on your vision, like
Yeah.
you're looking for
Yes.
fish.
I know there's surf techniques that find the fish without the like obviously the visuals. Like they're still there in the wash. They're going after sand eels and I don't know. I'm totally new to this, but
Well, the
I love
fluke, I
finding
mean, I
those.
see you catch. I see you post pictures of
Well, yeah, the
fluke
flip,
that you
yeah.
catch. You can't see those.
No, there's nothing going on at that time. You're literally just working a jig head, trying to go as light as possible and feel the jig, and then you
And
get dumped.
do you keep moving?
I do kind of keep moving. You can kind of break apart the surf a bit. You can kind of see where there might be a big hole, especially around maybe if you went through a low tide too. Kind of like see the trough. I can't explain it too well, but you can kind of find those parts, especially the jigs too. And find maybe where a fluke can be.
I mean, all right, we didn't bring you on here as a surf fishing expert. He's new to this.
Mhm.
He's learning.
Yes,
But
but
I wanted the perspective of someone new to it, even though, as Joe kind of teased you about, you kind of don't have a choice when it comes to salt water.
I
Although
don't
it's,
have a choice. But I love it so much. I enjoy it so
I
much.
mean,
And if you live in Jersey, you gotta experience it. You gotta go out in the fall and enjoy one of those blitzes. It's
Luke,
stupid.
you think I've never tried surf fishing and I just decided I didn't like it? Do you want me to tell you about my experiences surf fishing?
Yes, that's a
I went
yes.
out with a very experienced surf fisherman whose
Okay.
name will remain anonymous because this is embarrassing. Okay. They
We'll
talked.
just say it's Mark Medusky.
No.
Let's just say it's him.
You can say whatever you want, but it
All
wasn't.
right, it was him.
He talked this up so much, and I was excited. I was like, yeah, all
Don't do
right.
that.
I
They
mean,
talk it
that
up.
sounds great. Now, at this point in my fishing life, I had I had a kayak. Not even a year into when I started fishing, I said I got to get the hell off the shore. I can't be trapped on the shore. And I saw there was a meeting at the Knee Deep Club, and the speaker was a kayak fisherman. And I found out this guy was catching sharks from his kayak, and um, and I said I got to get off the shore. I got myself a kayak. So at this point, I had a kayak. I was saltwater fishing from the kayak, freshwater fishing from the kayak. This guy convinced me how awesome surf fishing was, and I went with him. He had all the gear. I used his gear, top line stuff. We went out there all day. There was blitzing bluefish or stripers. I don't know. I couldn't tell you because they were out of casting range for the entire fucking day. And
Just
we
never happened to
followed them, casting at them. And this was top of the line gear. We were launching these casts, and those goddamn things did not come in close enough for us to reach them. I caught one sea robin by accident. And at the end of the day, after an entire day, hours and hours, he just looked at me and he said, "You probably wish you had your kayak." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes,
Was it spring or fall?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I want to say it was fall.
Do we have enough internet connection to just bring Chris Chick in too, or we have to say bye to Luke first?
I don't know. All
We
right.
do?
No, we're only gonna do one at a time, just
Okay.
for quality purposes.
Okay, Luke.
That was my experience surf fishing, and the experienced surf fisherman. After he asked me that, and I said, "Yeah, I do wish I had my kayak," and he's like, "Send me the kayak you use. I think I'm gonna look into getting one myself. I've had too many days like this." And I said, "Yeah, I'm never doing this again."
That's great. I'm sorry you experienced that. I mean,
Luke, last question.
You don't need that. Yes.
If you didn't get seasickness at all, would you be surf fishing?
Yes. At least once a year. At least get the one blitz.
Once a year, he said.
Once a year. Okay. Okay.
One blitz a year. It's like that's all I need.
Okay, Luke, you've come on and you've proven our point completely. We appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you for coming on.
We love you, Luke.
And keep learning. So maybe one day you'll get good enough at it. You could take Chris and he'll believe in it.
I already asked him to join me. He said no to fluke fishing. He said
he won't go.
Or not meant to be caught.
If I have absolutely nothing else to do, no hunting, no boat fishing, then maybe.
He still won't go. No.
See you later, Luke.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so our next guest that's going to come in is Chris Chick. Chris Chick's another shore angler who I do not believe owns a boat. Chris, I don't know if you know what you're walking into. It turned out tonight, it started out tonight. It was going to be a surf fishing episode, and it somehow morphed into this boat fisherman versus shore fisherman war. So now we have Chris Chick here to defend all shore fishermen.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
Joe's exaggerating, but basically we talked to Luke. I know you know Luke.
Yeah.
I've known him for a while. Awesome guy. Fishes him all the time. Gets seasick like a motherfucker and had to pick up surf fishing. So we teased him a little bit. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus. I know you get seasick too, but
does he really?
I do, but I'll take I'll go. I still have been on the boat plenty of times. I'll take.
I told Luke was just saying how nice all the surf fishermen were on the beach. I was like, that's just a gathering of people that have small driveways and get seasick, and that's what this is turning into.
It's honestly
we're 2 for 2 on seasickness here.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely still go out on the boat, though. I have a kayak. I've been out there on the kayak before. Flipped the kayak in the Shark River and lost quite a bit of gear. So, surf is definitely a little more comfortable for me. But I don't know. Where do I start? I guess probably back in my college days, man. I went to Stockton University, and I was coming back up to North Jersey and trout fishing and bass fishing for the better part of probably all of my freshman, all of my sophomore, and then part of my junior year. I was coming back home. Finally sat next to this dude in class. I don't even know. It was a liberal arts school. They made us take a bunch of random classes, and this dude was all about surf fishing. And at that time, I was like, shit, stupid. I have no interest. I've been to the Manasquan Inlet. It's a shit show every time I go there. Never catch shit. I have no idea what I'm doing. How do you catch fish in this, the suds at your feet? Made no sense to me. One day he picked me up, brought me out, caught a couple of bass at my feet. Pretty much the next week went and bought a bunch of gear. Humbled real quick, though. Definitely humbled very quickly. You got to put your time in if you want to really truly enjoy surf fishing. It's not one of those deals where you could just show up once a year and expect to get lucky. The guys I know who are on fish consistently are going fishing consistently, and I'm talking like some guys are going every day. If you want to really know what these fish are doing, what the bait is doing, you got to really be going every day. And if you can understand what the bunker are doing and why they're doing it, you could probably catch fish every day from the surf. With that being said, that takes a lot of work. So it really depends on your level of dedication.
Now
When I first started,
you're a PA guy, right?
currently, yeah. Work brought me out here, though. I was born and raised in Jersey, so the
So
Jersey Shore was
let me
never.
ask like right now you have let's just say you have a day off, hypothetically day off in the fall, nothing to do. Are you going surf fishing or freshwater fishing?
Um, Immediately in the past couple of years, I'm probably fishing the river, going walleye fishing, but
Okay.
that's just because I've gotten a little bit tired. If you talk to me maybe 3 years ago, I'm taking every second that I have that I think I can squeeze a good opportunity to hit the beach in. I'm going and hitting the beach. I've spent thousands extra. There were years that I was out there, especially during the spring run, 3, 4 times a week, pretty much as soon as the season opened. Um, we knew where the bait was, and we were pretty much on them the second those bass were ready to start eating. Um, Honestly, as a new surf fisherman, if I'm trying to convince somebody to get into fishing from the surf, I would say you need to go in the springtime. Um, Much more consistent. There's a huge handful of shoreline spots, and you can find some really quality fish consistently in the springtime at night. Um, Even this past spring, I only went 4 or 5 times, and I think I went 4 for 5. Most nights it was at least 5 or 6 bass. Nothing like huge. I mean, you'll see those 30, 40s. You see the occasional 50. Real 50s, not the ones that guys are calling 50s. I'm talking like actual 50s, which are much less common than people make it out to be, unless you're Chuck Manny. That guy seems to be on some serious bass. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, like I
Yeah,
don't know. You can there's certain spots that you could definitely get big bass from shore, but I also notice you get a lot of exaggerators. But you could
that's
certainly
everywhere.
go and you can catch 20-pound fish till your arms get tired from the beach. Especially I won't say anything specific, but Cliffwood Beach has a lot of really nice areas. The Amboys, uh, yeah, all spots like that. Even during the day too, honestly.
So, like, well, from what you're describing, it sounds very similar to like when I was kayak saltwater fishing. We
Mhm.
kind of had this group of guys, and there was always someone driving up and down, like a team of guys watching the surf. Because obviously, from a kayak, you can only go so far from when you put the kayak in. Um, but even the kayak is less restrictive than surf fishing as far as moving
Absolutely.
around. Or I guess it's comparable in a way when you're talking about surf fishing, just because you're not going to you'd end up pulling the kayak out, putting it back on your truck, and driving down a couple of beaches, just like I'm
Yeah,
sure you do
yeah.
surf fishing. But I guess the point is, you kind of, not that you need it, but if you want maximum effectiveness, you kind of need a group, like a team effort.
You definitely it can't hurt. And going along with what you said, your level of success is definitely dependent upon the amount of effort you want to put in. And doing it by yourself is hard. That's not to say you can't catch them by yourself, but strength in numbers for sure, man. Strength in
But
numbers
I
for
mean,
sure.
yeah. Well, at some point, I know I was just kind of busting your balls the one day when I said something along the lines of surf fishing relies heavily on luck. But what I meant by that was, if you don't have the information, you're stuck on the shore, right? So
Hmm.
you need a spot where those bass are close enough where you can actually catch them, or else it's physically impossible.
Yeah.
Whereas a boat, you can go wherever the hell you want. And so basically, I guess what I'm saying is, I didn't mean there's no skill involved, but I meant that you're heavily relying on a factor that's completely out of your control, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Like if those, I don't know if you caught the end of my story when you were waiting to come in that I was telling Luke, when I went surf fishing, those fish did not come within casting range the entire day.
Mm.
And that soured me so much. Like I couldn't stand it. It just,
Yeah,
that
I get it, man.
handcuffing.
That's one of the reasons that I've honestly slowed down these days with surf fishing. Because there's a lot of days that are crazy humbling. And it takes a lot to come back from those days, especially like picture coming from my house. Say I worked all day, which I do a lot. Leave from work and go hit the beach because I work right on the Pennsylvania border. I work in Bangor, so it shaves like 40 minutes off the drive for me. Um, Head down. I'll usually leave at like 3 o'clock. Get down there, fish the entire night. Probably head home anywhere between 3 and 6 in the morning. That ride sucks no matter what. But if you just fished the entire night and you didn't catch anything and you had opportunity that just wasn't close enough, that ride sucks 100 times more. And they get longer and longer and longer as those years go by. But with that being said, if you know where to go, there's certain spots, and I don't want to like throw any like secret spots or anything under the bus, but when I was really into it, me and my buddy, and we were really willing to stay out all night, and we didn't care about wasting the gas money. There were few nights, fall or spring, that we'd go home completely empty-handed. Some nights you were scratching and clawing to get one, even if it was a rat, but it was rare that we went home empty-handed. Bridges, Sandy Hook. I mean, everybody knows Sandy Hook. Basically, the difference there is if you're willing to not listen to the rules and the closures and go fish under that barge during the fall, there's not a time that you're not going to find bass at night next to that barge. Those guys have huge spotlights that they're looking for you, and they're going to call the cops on you. But if you can hang in the shadows, the bass literally flip out of the water like dolphins there. But with that being said, there's also a high likelihood that there's a ranger sitting in the parking lot waiting to give you I think it's like a $500 fine. They're getting pretty mad about it these days. But I can't tell you how many times we've gone out there and caught 25, 30 fish apiece when there was not a single other spot on the beach that there was even a sign of life. And they were just loaded up there. Like every bass in the ocean seemed like they were right there. It's crazy.
All right, well, we'll have to go with Chris one day surf fishing and give it a shot, maybe.
Yeah, I'd be happy to show you guys a few spots.
I'm just, it's the whole time I'm surf fishing, I'm going to be and if it's a successful day, then that's great. But I feel like unless it's like an out of this world banner day, in the back of my head, I'm going to be thinking, God, if I had a boat, this would be even better.
So I think probably my most recent trip, you would have probably been satisfied with, because it completely left any ounce of doubt out of our mind that there was not a pot of fish that we thought would come in that didn't come in. We started in Sandy Hook, and we literally made our way just checking beach to beach all the way down the island beach. We checked every single beach. We made note of every single pot of bass that we saw that had potential. Jaws dropped at the amount of pods of fish that not a single boat within sight anywhere, because everybody was down at Island Beach chasing the reports. And it sucked. I mean, we were starting to lose a lot of hope. We were down there at sunrise, and we went for, I don't even know how much. I mean, we probably clocked over 100 miles just driving beachfront. But it was really satisfying when we finally made it to Long Branch and we found that one pot of fish that wasn't close, and started with like 10 of us. Of course, there was like 100 guys by the end of it, but there was no doubt in our mind that was the pot of fish that came in that day. There was no other pot of fish that came in, and we checked every ounce. Any place we could check, we checked. We were even up the bay checking. So, a lot of effort, but you went home knowing that was the pot of fish that was going to be in. There wasn't any other action anywhere else because we checked.
I mean, look, I don't want to give you the wrong idea. Like I had an hour and a half, not even 2 hours after work today, and I went into a little stream and caught little brown trout that you could fit in your pocket, and I was satisfied. It's not like I need this epic experience every time, or else I hate that I went. Like I love fishing. I love all kinds of fishing.
Yeah.
It's just that in the back of my head, right? Like you said, if you go out surf fishing and for example, the school fish or the blitz doesn't come in close enough and you never get a shot at them, it's humbling. To me, I wouldn't describe it as humbling. To me, it would be, I didn't bring the right tools for this, which would be a boat, and I could have capitalized on this if I had a boat. Like that's just what I'd keep thinking.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said that didn't cross my mind. But then there's a lot of times too, a lot of those boats, and I can't speak for everyone. I'm sure any shore angler who's fished the beach can attest to this. You get a lot of guys who run boats that don't know how to run boats. And they get into those fish that should really be for the shore guys because there's fish everywhere, but they don't know how to find them. So they tend to get in your face. So I guess it puts a bad taste in our mouths towards the boats a little bit. So you kind of put it out of your head, but at the same time, it's like, if I had a boat, I'd be out on that stuff too, So I do get where you're coming from, but I don't know. I guess there's limits, there's limitations. If you go, say, 1 or 2 trips, I can handle a skunk. But if I keep going time and time again, and you're spending, all of a sudden that checking account's getting slimmer, and you got nothing to show for it, you definitely start to get a little pissed off. But like I said, this is coming from a surf angler of like 15 years now. I'm starting to get a little bit bitter over the whole situation. But then
it sounds like another guy that wishes.
Yeah,
come fishing
it
on the
sounds
boat
2
with us.
for 2. He's convinced me of nothing.
I mean, it's hard to say because I'm literally working 7 days a week right now to save for a boat. So
you could come fishing with me on my boat. We'll forget about this surf fishing adventure.
I'll bring the Pop-Tarts.
Bring Pop-Tarts, yes. Chris, thank you so much for coming on and giving us your time and opinion.
Yeah,
no problem. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
You and Luke should go continue this conversation on the side. Next, we're going to go to Mr. Jen Wan, who Jen Wan is another guy who I believe doesn't own a boat, or he did own a boat and his wife stole it or something.
Wait, what?
Jen, I think Jen used to have a boat, but his wife stole it from him. I think that's what he told me. If not, I'm making it up. No. Jen, is Jen in here yet?
Jen, we can hear him.
I'm here.
Okay, Jen, did your wife steal your boat?
She didn't steal it, but let's put it this way. Me and my brother had a couple boats, but they're all gone. So's the wife, so it's all good.
You know what? I don't know if you're happy that the boats are gone, but I'm sure you're. It sounds like if it had to go that way, it's better off, right? I mean, but
what are you gonna do? Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Jen, the first 2 guys that came in, they were pretty much surf fishermen, trying to convince us to surf fish. They failed at that. We pretty much proved they're both just there because they get seasick. But they're pretending to like it and think seasickness is cool. Now, you don't surf fish. When you go down the shore, you're always on a boat. But now in freshwater, you're never on a boat. You're always on shore, constantly.
Most of the time.
Now, this is probably an even harder sell for Chris, to get Chris to go freshwater fishing from shore as opposed to surf fishing, because this is now impossible.
Well, what's impossible? I mean, who am I talking to, Matt or Chris?
I changed the name. All right, it's a whole story. We don't have time for it on the podcast.
I got you. Anyway, I do most of my freshwater from shore, but I do fish on boats. I fish the Passaic sometimes on boats. I got a couple of really good spots, but some of these spots I fish that. I've worked on them since I was a kid. I fished some of these spots since I'm like 8 years old, me and my brother. And I got them all timed out for pretty much time of year. The spring, feed up, like the big pickerel. I know Joe wants to come catch them as big pickerel. I'm talking King Kong pickerel.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Max took me this past weekend, and it was a complete failure. So I just had to jig perch for all day. He told me he was offering me the fishing opportunity of a lifetime.
Wait.
Then he apologized and said it was because he was drunk.
But that happens. I mean, you come with me, you might get skunked too. But you
Yeah, but I know you're not drunk texting me, Jen, and this guy's just texting fantasies. Now you're going to take me on some Donkey Kong pickerel. When are we going? Is that soon?
Couple weeks. It usually starts in February, and it's the pre-spawn feed up.
Is that in a river or in a lake?
It's in a river. And
see, now we don't count that as shore fishing, though. That's not shore fishing.
Well, no, it's not. It's not that it's not shore fishing, but here's the thing, right? So, all right, like let's.
So does does he even actually shore fish? Because he doesn't even really shore fish. Oh, yeah, you do. You fish like lakes in Newark, don't you?
I fish everywhere, wherever there's water.
Listen, here's the thing about shore fishing. If you can fish from the shore on a spot that's either, for whatever reason, maybe it's small enough that you can almost fish the entire thing from the shore, and you know it's a good spot for whatever reason, that there's an eddy there or a hole there or the current comes around this once, for whatever it is. And I'm sure most of Jen's spots that he's talking about that he's fished all these years that he knows are good, they have some of these qualities. That's why he knows they're good, right? And he knows he doesn't need a boat to fish these spots for those reasons.
Absolutely. I mean, some of these spots, it would be a pain to try to keep, unless you've got a ton of money, spot lock and all that stuff. And actually, you don't need it. I mean, like when it comes to the fall feed up, they migrate up to the mouth of a creek, certain creeks, right? Not to give the spot away, but it's the pre-spawn feed where they come up, and those pickerel are the biggest pickerel you're going to catch in a year. And all the females usually come first. And the females are full of eggs. And they're coming, and like you won't catch one. You can catch, like, I caught 15 pickerel all in a row, like crazy, on jerkbaits. And they're all full of eggs. I'm talking like 27, 30, and big pickerel, some of the biggest pickerel. And they'll come up there to feed. And then once you know it starts to be over is when you start getting the smaller males. Because then pretty much the signal of it's almost done. They're all feeding up, and then they go pair up and do their thing.
I mean, I got to be honest. I don't think I've purposely fished for targeted pickerel since I first started fishing and figured out what they were for the first time and was like excited about them. Then it just became a fish that cuts my lure off when I'm fishing for something else. I don't think this actually sounds pretty cool. I would do this.
It's fun. I mean, they're big, they're vicious, there's
no.
But see,
it's not shore fishing.
It is
shore fishing, but it's acceptable shore fishing.
I mean, if you're short, are you wearing waders?
No. I got boots on just because you got to walk through some crap. But yeah, you're casting from shore.
In a river, though, Chris.
Well, if it's the spot that I'm thinking of, it's a wide enough part of river where, I mean, you could fish more of it if you had waders or a boat.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to. It's unnecessary.
I mean, it's
all right.
The reason why I fish for these, because they're the first one up. It's the time of year. What are you going to catch in February?
Well, that's what I was kind of getting at, Jen. Your biggest issue getting me to come with you at that time of year is I'm going to be ice fishing.
Hopefully.
I don't do ice.
I'll tell you what.
And I don't do. That's
Jen,
when I make jigs and tie flies and all that.
Jen, we're going to make a deal right now. Okay. You come ice fishing one time, I'll come shore fishing for a pickerel one time.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That's good.
Have you ever tried it? You've never tried ice fishing?
No.
It is the best, Jen. It's fun as hell.
I know. I know how to check the ice. Everything will be safe. You don't have to worry about that. Other than
he's in good shape now. He don't even have to worry about breaking the ice no more. He's not 300 pounds. Yeah, right, Jen?
I'm old and decrepit, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but you shouldn't crack through as easily.
Yeah. Okay,
Chris,
we'll do that. Absolutely.
all right,
right,
deal.
put it
We're
on.
gonna take Jen ice fishing.
Put it on the
Yeah.
books. I just cursed the whole ice fishing season by talking about it, but
You
what the hell?
totally, definitely did.
Yeah, we're not going to get any ice. I mean, global warming, whatever they want to call
I
it.
agree with you. There's not going to be any ice. There's no chance. No ice fishing at all.
And then the pickerel it'll be earlier. And what used to be, see, the schedule was different. Most of these places used to be like some of them were full with pike. So I would go after the pike. And then, of course, the pike are bigger. But over the years, it seems like a big trend is most of the best place turned over from pike, mostly pike, to mostly pickerel.
Really?
And yeah, it was really strange. It's like all of a sudden now, where it used to be 5-1. See, that pike would come first and then pickerel would come after. But now it's like you only get a couple pike, but it's all pickerel. I mean, but big monster pickerel. So I can tell they took it over. Like, I guess it cycled out.
It's all relative, too, though, when it comes to the fish size. I mean, a big pickerel, like, what are we talking? You ever actually measure these fish, or you just kind of estimate them?
No, I measured them. I mean, the last year I got a 27, a couple just barely under 30. I mean, those are pretty
really
big. For New Jersey, yeah. I mean,
Jen,
those are big.
and I like
That's
not to like bring up a weird topic or make you uncomfortable, but I would have to say when it comes to like these big fish, and also like some of the I don't know if you carry sponsorships or pro staff. It's none of my business, but I know you're involved with a lot of different companies. To be able to achieve what you have without a boat and do it all from shore is pretty impressive in itself, isn't it, Chris? I mean,
yeah, I mean, like he said, these spots that he's been fishing since he was a kid, and he's watched them evolve, and he's
I mean, do you know
learned
any?
them and seen them change.
Do you offhand know anyone else that like goes to ICAST and all that shit and doesn't have a boat? Like they fish from shore only and pull it off? Like I can't even think of anyone really that.
No, neither can I. I mean,
All right, so Jen, you're pretty impressive, actually. I just realized it.
he just realized it.
I guess. All right.
Sometimes he just he might as well put his ass up to the microphone and just start talking out of it, because he goes on these tangents. No one knows what the hell he's talking about.
Who, me? I'm just saying, if you realistically think about it, I mean, Jen, I don't want to just call him out on everything, but he goes to ICAST. We know he's got lip glue. We know he's jerkbait master. He's got deals with jerkbaits. I mean, this guy's got fucking deals with all kinds of people, and he doesn't even have a boat. He accomplished it from shore. I know no one else that's done that. That's all I was saying.
I'm old as crap. So it's a lot of years of trial and error. So, you know.
All right. Well, Chris is yelling at me. Jen, we're going to see you in only 15 days at the Christmas party.
The closing question, Jen, though, barring any special bite like this pickerel bite in February where you know you can hit it like crazy from the shore and the fish are all big and all that, if you have the time, you have a full day, and you're either going to get the fish from a boat or stick yourself on shore having to fish from shore, I mean, you're picking the boat, no?
It depends. I mean, in the same spots where these pickerel are?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying forget about those special shore bites. I'm just in general, like, let's say you want to.
You got it. You could have one day to do anything you want, but it's going to either be from shore or from a boat. You have to pick.
That's tough.
Well, you got to pick, Jen. We're running out of time.
There's really no reason to stick yourself trapped on shore when you can be on a boat unless there's a special circumstance.
Andy still stops watching soon. We have to.
I would definitely pick a boat because, you're more mobility.
3 for 3 here.
It's actually,
3 for 3.
It's actually less work.
This is crazy.
And Jen Wong doesn't get seasick.
You got electronics. You got all that stuff. And then most guys will bring a net, Joe.
Wow, busted.
Joe.
Nice call out, Jen. All right, we're going to see you in 15 days at the Christmas party, right, Jen?
You better believe it.
Awesome. All right, can't wait.
Can't wait.
All
Thank
right.
you so much for coming on. You're going to see how big Chris's head is in person in only 15 days from now.
It's not that big.
Awesome.
We'll see you there. It's really, yeah, it's not that big. I exaggerate. It's still funny, though.
We'll go ice fishing. It's all good.
Hope so.
I'm
now we're
holding you
never
up for that. We made a deal.
We'll be driving up to Lake George probably to go.
All right. I'll see you guys.
All right.
See ya.
Jen.
Bye.
All right. Our next guest that we're going to bring in, Deuce is giving me a 2, which means I have to stall for 2 minutes. I think Jen just froze the whole system into the matrix here. No, we're running. So our next guest somehow outfishes most of the big boys with the jet boats from shore. Laura Yeats is here to defend the shore's honor. Laura, thank you for coming on.
Before we get started, Laura's the only other person that might know what the hell happened the other week when no episode came up. So what the hell happened?
Actually, she looks more nervous this time.
Joe told me,
last time she was nervous, this time she's worse.
Joe told me the whole episode was scrapped because you were shivering and nervous and you couldn't do it.
Look at her.
I wasn't shivering. I don't know.
Look at her face.
I don't like.
You look like an apple. Dave Oz is gonna shit himself when he sees this.
I don't know. I don't know. I get nervous. I don't know.
And then your son was making a grilled cheese sandwich in the background. So yeah, we couldn't put the episode out.
No.
It's all right. Let's
I
retry.
apologize.
It wasn't your
too.
fault. It wasn't your
Hurry up before she hyperventilates.
Ah.
All right, so we had a couple of guests come on. We had some surf fishermen. We just had a guy that Jen Wong. He kills big, awesome big fish from shore all the time. But even he kind of admitted, if it's between a boat and shore, I mean, he's gonna fish from a boat unless it's a special circumstance. Now, I don't know how many other species you like to target, but you like to target flathead catfish in the Delaware River specifically. And that can obviously be done very effectively from shore if you know the spots, which you do. Would you rather still, for that particular instance, would you still rather fish from shore for flatheads? Or if one of your friends was like, yeah, I'm going out in the boat and we can hit these spots with the boat, would you still no, I'm going to fish from shore?
It depends on how the bite is that night, to be honest. Like if they're biting, then I may just stay on the shore. If not, I take the kayak or just go on a boat.
You like it
But
there?
I like the shore. Personally, I like the shore. I feel like it's more rewarding when you catch them, to be honest.
See, that's the thing that keeps getting me. And I don't know, you saltwater fish at all or surf fish?
I have a couple times, but not.
Do you get seasick?
No, I don't.
Surf fishing guys, not all of them, obviously, but this is the one that the surf fishing guys like to say, boat fish don't count. That's
Right.
their diss to the guys fishing from boats, and I just don't get it. And you kind of said just a version of it just there, that the fish from shore is more rewarding, but I don't get it.
Because I feel like if I'm fishing, say for my kayak, for instance, I feel like it's easier to land a fish in a kayak or a boat because you're over the fish. There's a lot less debris and a lot less rocks that you could get stuck on. When you're on the shore and say you're reeling in the fish from the shore, you have a lot more of a chance of that, it smacking into your braid hitting a rock, breaking off. I feel like, I don't know. I can't even. I
get what you're saying. You're right. That's all true, but you did that to yourself. You chose to fish from the shore. Right. You could have jumped in your kayak and fished, or a boat.
Right, but to me, it's more. I don't mind fishing from the shore. I like the challenge. It's harder to bring a fish in from the shore,
So
especially a bigger fish.
So if we told you right now that we brought you on this podcast to surprise you with a brand new 2023 16-foot jet boat just for you, you're going to leave it in the driveway and go fish from shore?
That wasn't the question you asked me before.
That's the
That
one I'm
wasn't what you were
asking
saying. That
now.
wasn't what we
No,
were
that was
talking
his
about.
question. Now we're asking it. Now
That
you
was
have a
not.
boat.
That was not the question.
Everything's
didn't
more
say
rewarding
anything
from
close
shore
to
when
that.
you don't have a boat. If she had the boat, it wouldn't be more rewarding from shore.
It is. It is rewarding. I mean, it's just, to me, it's more of a challenge. So to me, I feel like I'm like more accomplished when I
So
catch
you don't want the boat we're going to give you. We're something else.
That wasn't what you were asking me. Now you're going off topic.
No, but in all seriousness,
Who wouldn't take a boat? Who wouldn't take a boat? Let's be honest. Who wouldn't take
Well,
a
that's
boat?
why
But
we're
the point
here.
is-
Apparently, there's a lot of people that don't
Yeah,
want a
no,
boat.
you're asking what I'd prefer to fish. If I go out on my kayak to fish, catch fish, don't catch fish, whatever. Every night when I go out, I still wind up fishing from the shore. I'll still fish from the shore every night.
but that's more of like a convenience thing. Like it sounds like, oh, I'm tired from kayak fishing all this time, but I still want to fish, but I want to relax a little bit. I'm going to do it from shore.
No, that's not true. I enjoy fishing from the shore. I like it, and especially I know spots both from the shore and from in the kayak too. So, but I fished 3 years straight from the shore. I liked it.
I'm not trying to diss shore fishing, really. I'm just trying to understand.
You are.
I think we're not
because
trying to
your
diss it.
main-
We're trying to prove the point that the only thing that really actually probably makes you like it is that you don't have a boat. Like, if you had a boat, you wouldn't be talking this way. It's just the way
I have
it
a
is.
kayak that has I have a kayak. I can get around. I have a kayak with a trolling motor that I can get around.
That's irrelevant though. It's not the point.
But I could still get on. I could still launch my kayak, get in my kayak, and I could still.
Yeah,
fish.
but you fishing from a kayak is not helping the shore fisherman's argument. It's hurting them.
Well, she's saying that even though she has the kayak, she sometimes chooses to fish from shore.
I have a kayak. The kayak's a pain in the ass. It's not.
My kayak is a hell of a lot easier to launch than it is to prepare and launch an actual boat.
But so when
I can launch my kayak way quicker.
My boat. I just back my truck up. My boat launches itself.
Yeah, but all the preparation, there's prep work involved. You don't act like you just
not with this guy. This guy forgets like 3 things every time you go. It's a fucking nightmare.
Then you got to probably go back home and takes them probably 2 hours to get to launch. But by the time you're actually backing your trailer into the water, and
you just go, and whatever you forgot, you forgot. You forget the net, you grab the fish with your hand. But I just want to double back. I don't want to lose the topic here. So you have access to a nice kayak with a trolling motor you can fish from. You're saying you still choose to fish from shore sometimes. And when I said, but why, you said that because it's more rewarding because it's harder to land the fish from shore, basically.
That's not what that's like not, if that's how it came off, that's like, okay, if I choose, maybe the water's too rough for me to take my kayak out. I can't take my kayak out if it's too rough. I don't.
Well, that would mean, no, you're not helping your argument here because then you wouldn't have a choice.
So what are you saying? So you're saying me choosing.
I'm saying go ahead. In the conditions would allow for you to use your kayak, totally fine. You could hit the spots you want to hit. But in what scenario would you choose to fish from shore, even if you could effectively fish from your kayak? You said you'd still sometimes choose to fish from shore, but I want to know why.
No, and that is true. I would. I mean, just depending on the day. If I want to fish from shore, just a spot maybe that I really want to fish, that I I want to try out a spot, or a spot that I know produces.
Like if
I'll absolutely.
Like if you can't get to it with the kayak, you mean?
Oh, right. Hold on a second.
Even if I can get to it with a kayak.
We might have an issue here.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I think Brandon's trying to get ready to come in, and it's ruining the feed. So can we just block him out for a second? I guess what I'm trying to say is I just don't get it. If you can fish from a boat and you choose to fish from shore, I mean, look, if you have a reason for it that like you don't feel like dealing with the boat or whatever, you just have or you don't have a ton of time or you want a more relaxing fishing experience, I get that. But that's about it. I after that, I don't get it.
The rewarding thing that I said, honestly, is just what I was saying was my personal choice as to why I like to bag fish. You know, if I want to fish from the shore one day, I'll fish from the shore. You know what I mean? If
So
I
if
don't
you
have my
have plan,
kayak attached to my,
if
go
you
ahead.
have plans to go on shore fishing, and all of a sudden Dave all calls and says, "Hey, you want to jump on the boat with me?" You're gonna say, "Nah, Dave, I'm good. I'm going shore fishing."
Dave's already called me, and I've already had plans to go shore fishing. You know, with other people.
That's horrible.
I've,
All right, get rid of her
I've,
now. Get rid of
She's really sticking to her guns, but I
Yeah,
don't
she is.
get
She's
it.
dying on the hill. She is.
I'm not
I
dying.
mean,
That's just how I feel. I enjoy bait fishing. I don't know how
Not
else to
giving
explain.
her the boat, Chris.
there's no boat. But
All right,
no, I
thank
mean,
her. Say thank you. Goodbye. This time was much better for her.
all right, take care.
She calmed down.
Uh,
All right, Brandon's muted. Mark Mercer is here
We
to
got-
fight Chris, and Mark Mercer's going to defend the shoreline. Brandon's also here.
So is Brandon's waiting?
Deuce, can we take them both at once or no? You're muted too. Okay. Mercer, unmute yourself. Mute. You got to click the microphone and unmute.
Whoever can figure out how to unmute.
There it is.
themselves
All
first
right,
can come on.
Mercer's in. Mercer, you're another guy that doesn't own a boat. We've
No,
already
I own a boat. I own kayaks. I just don't use them.
You don't use it. Okay. So you
Well, I mean,
shore
I use my kayak once in a while, but not like as much as I. Once I yeah.
You shore fish more often. The previous 4 people that came on pretty much tried to sell us on shore fishing and just totally failed at it.
I just think that like the question is like interesting in the way because like it really just depends on what you're doing. I mean, sometimes shore is a better application. I mean, for me, my favorite thing to do is just like trout fish and walk. So to me, that's a lot of fun. You know?
Well, we
So-
didn't count rivers.
That just because the trout fishing spots like that you can't get a boat into anyway.
Well,
and so
I mean, you could get a drift boat, you know, but I'd rather fish off the land than a drift boat anyway. But that's just me. I mean, anybody, listen, it's all about personal preference and like what's going to be able to get you to catch fish. But like for me, just what I enjoy the most when it comes to fishing outside of fluking in a boat is walking and trout fishing. So that's why for me it would be like that. But like to add to your point, and something I was thinking about once you asked me to come on here is like, what do you consider ice fishing?
I mean, I guess that's a decent question. I wouldn't count it as shore fishing just for the fact that you can access any part of the lake you want.
You're saying you're now calling ice fishing
Well,
land?
I'm assuming that's what he's.
Well,
kind of
basically what
doing.
I'm
I
just kind
mean-
of asking, like, I think to me, ice fishing is more land-based than it is like boat-based
Ice
because you're
fishing would
walking.
be almost simulating a boat. Now you're vertical up and down above the fish as opposed.
Or you're also trying to be Jesus because you're walking on water. But, you know. But
Well,
listen, I mean, it's all good. I mean, like, to me, it's just for my personal preference. I mean, whatever it is to catch fish, but like for me, I love walking trout streams. That's what I like doing. But also, I love fluking in a boat. But, you know, for me, if I had to pick one, it would be trout streams, walking.
Right, but the trout streams you're fishing in New Jersey, you can't get a boat into anyway.
That's not true. You can get. I watched somebody one time take a friggin' float trip down the South Branch on one of those inflatable guide boats. Have you ever seen those?
I mean, yeah.
I'm serious. I've seen
I
it.
guess
Like,
the basic question is if you were going to Lake Apacon or
All right.
Spruce Run, would you prefer to fish it from shore or on someone's boat?
well, I mean, if Lake Opakon, if it was like the walleye season and in the early, I mean, you can catch them offshore. But like, honestly, I'd rather do a boat, 100% for those two. Yeah.
All right, so you
Right. So I guess
Yeah.
well what the point is my thing with shore fishing is it handcuffs you, it locks you into this thing. And this is why I didn't include trout streams, wading trout streams, and I don't include ice fishing in this either, is when you're shore fishing, you're trapped on land. You can only do a certain amount of things. You're handcuffed into a certain technique. You can't vertically fish. You can't vertically jig. You can't reach certain angles of cast. You're stuck. You're trapped, and that's the part that I can't get past.
Listen, that's all valid points, but at the same point, when you say like you're stuck and you're trapped, I mean, at the same point, you can argue that in a different way with like saying that like, are your legs broken because you can walk? Does your car not work because you can move? So you're technically mobile. I mean, but it's just different. Like see, here's the deal. It's like when you're in a lake, man, like there's a million different contours you can, same with the river. There's a million different things you can do, you know? And it's all about, to me, for fishing at this point in my life, is more about what, like, it's just to enjoy the time more than like anything. So if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something I want to do. You know, that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to stop anyone from shore
No,
fishing.
absolutely not.
I'm just saying, if I can access this spot, whatever spot we're talking about, with a boat, I'm going to be able to...
Okay. You're talking like equal playing fields. Like you can do either or.
Basically, yeah. Okay. If it's something where you're at an advantage from, like if you want to fish a trout stream in New Jersey, most of the regular sized and smaller ones, obviously the advantage is being in waders and being able to walk to wherever you want. You can get whatever angle you want on whatever spot you want. Floating down it in a unicorn raft is not going to give you an advantage.
No, I saw it. The one I saw was like one of those ones that had oars. Like it's like a rubber raft that's got like a friggin' seat in it.
Oh my God!
It's I swear to God, I saw this.
I believe you. I've seen some.
All right, Mark, we're going to see you in 15 days at the Christmas party. Oh, actually, no, because this podcast comes out. We'll see you in 11 days at the Christmas party, right?
Oh yeah. Now Joe's got to do math. Just say the dates, December 6th.
Yeah, save the date, 11 days. We have to say goodbye to you because I have to get Brandon on before we go to watch Monday Night Football.
I'm about to do that myself.
Yeah, so thank you for coming on.
Hey, guys, go Niners.
Fighting. Niners won already. Yeah, the Eagles are a disgrace.
All right.
That city.
But like I said, with the ice fishing thing, though, I honestly, to me, it seems more like land-based, but...
But why? You can drill a hole wherever you want.
Yeah, the ice fishing seems like a total boat thing, man. It's totally like...
I mean, like, I guess you can bring a jet... I've actually... There's another one. I've seen someone bring an aluminum boat on the ice. So, you know.
I mean, if we're going to bring in all kinds of, like, weird New Jersey idiots that we've seen out here, I mean, that's a whole nother episode.
That is 100% true.
I've seen YouTube videos of a guy lake trout jigging with a ice fishing rod. All right, Mark, thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later, man. Have a good night.
Dude. Thank
you.
Our last guest we're going to bring in on the panel is Brandon J. Szymanski. I believe Brandon, you have to mute your microphone.
All right, we're going to have to fix this.
For some reason, there's some kind of an echo. Brandon, you're going to have to leave the whole Skype and probably rejoin the... But anyway, so yeah, I think this episode solved absolutely nothing. I think Luke walked into something. He had no idea what he was walking into. He thought it seemed to be an informative... No, he has to mute it. Yeah, there's something wrong.
Let's fix this.
What? No, he muted it. He just muted it. But
we're going to have to...
I think Luke didn't know what he was walking into. He thought maybe it was more of an informative surf fishing episode, so he kind of got blindsided. And then probably should have never revealed to me that he was seasick because that just like, it's just like the icing on the cake.
Well, I revealed it to you, but he shouldn't have revealed it to me. But I think the prerequisite for us to do a surf fishing like tactical or like informational episode, I think this was the prerequisite for it, and it failed miserably.
Most likely. We're going to try it, Brandon, one more time. Brandon, most likely it's the headset.
I think we're good now.
Okay, so we have Brandon. Brandon, we had the first 5 guests on now, I think. 2 surf fishermen, 1 freshwater Laura Yeats was on the Flathead Catfish Queen. Now you're here. I believe you're another guy that does not own a boat, correct?
Yeah, I have a canoe, but not a traditional boat. No.
So you prefer land-based fishing most of the time versus boat fishing?
Yeah, most of the time. So my families were never a boat family. Always been a beach family though. My grandmother lives at the shore. My other grandma lives in Long Beach Island, Lavalette. So I've always had an opportunity to go down there and spend some time. And it's always been my favorite thing to just wake up in the morning, grab my bag, grab a rod, take my shoes off, and get casting in the surf, man. There's nothing like it. Toes in the sand, wet wading in the summertime, catching big fluke, striped bass. I mean, you never know what you're going to pull out of the surf. And that's really what I like about it.
I mean, you had me at the beginning of when you started talking. You actually kind of had me for a second. I understood
when he said toes in the sand.
When he started talking about, it's like a sentimental, almost nostalgic type thing, and that's what he enjoyed about it.
Why is it nostalgic to you though? Were you taking surf fishing as a kid a lot? Like that?
Yeah.
Something you did?
Oh yeah. My
okay.
father was a big surf fisherman, and we'd go down to Long Beach Island, Lavalette, pretty much every year. And he'd bring my trout rod down for me. I'd cast out snapper zappers for little blues, and he would live line them for fluke and whatever else. And it was always a fun time. And now I still get to carry on that tradition at the same beaches, the same houses, and it's just. I mean, there's nothing like it. There really isn't.
See, now this is the best example that I think I could see in the whole episode is him. He's specifically basically doing this almost like tradition. Surf fishing's an actual tradition he's passing on.
And he's there, he's at his family's house or whatever it may be, and it's summertime and it's nice, he's on the beach and he's at, I mean, I'm glad we saved you for last. And I mean, we didn't plan this in any way, but
no, we didn't. But he kind of makes the most sense of anyone.
Yeah, you kind of are making the best point so far. But I mean, you did mention you could catch anything, whatever. Same thing from a boat. If I'm saltwater fishing from a boat, more so, I have access to more species though. I can go wherever I want.
So, I mean, you do and you don't, right? Because you're not going to be able to really catch spot croaker and kingfish as easily from a boat. They're really in the wash thick. So certain species, like maybe you've got more range for bass and blues, and you might come across a cobia, but stuff like that even finds its way into the surf these days. Things are changing a lot with the water temperatures, and there's really all sorts of things you could pull out of there.
Okay, so I guess the question I've asked everyone some version of this question is basically, I get where you're coming from, and you kind of sold us, you sold it better than some of the other guys, in my opinion, with your little story there. But if
your little story there,
with the whole toes in the sand, he's at grandma's house, and
your little story.
You had me going. But if, let's say it's a Saturday, we both have the day off. I got a buddy that's taking his boat out, go fluke fishing or whatever, and you say, "Oh, dude, but I'm going surf fishing with my toes in the sand. Like, come with me." And say, "I'm not coming with you. I'm going on the boat."
And that's your prerogative, Chris. I would go on the boat too sometimes, but there are going to be times I pick the surf.
But that's what I'm saying. You're invited to come with us on the boat that day.
See, but this is biased again because he's locked in by tradition. It's like me. I go hunting Thanksgiving morning my whole life. You could invite me fishing a million times. I go hunting. It's tradition.
Here's what I'll say, Chris. If I'm at my grandma's house and I'm going surf fishing in the morning and you invite me out on the boat, I'm going to go out on the boat with you. But when I get back to the house, I'm going to go back up to the surf and make some casts anyway.
Well, I might join you just because the boat fishing's over for the day. And
you won't.
If I have nothing else to do,
you might go swimming, maybe.
Do you got food there? Well, I think
we got food.
Yeah, he's got food. It's
that's the other thing, right?
An interesting point.
your steps from my grandma's house when you're on the beach. It's right there. So you want to run back to the house for lunch quick? Go for it, and right back to the surf.
I'm
See, I
kind of
don't have a
sold
grandma with
on
a
the
house on.
whole surf fishing, shore fishing thing. If it's in a way that like I could get a little bit more fishing in a more relaxing way, sort of deal.
Chris, what if your grandma had a house on the beach like this? Because now, like my grandma doesn't. I don't even have a grandma anymore, but my grandparents didn't have a house on the beach. If they had a house on the beach that you had access to, would you be more
Well,
inclined to this?
Well, I think that's what I'm understanding from him, and that's why I'm kind of accepting this as the best argument because I'm picturing, like for example, I have a cousin that lived on this small lake, and when I would go there, I wouldn't have a boat with me. He didn't have a boat. I'd put the rod in and I'd fish from shore just because, I mean, it was simple. It was, easy, I guess. It was convenient. Um, and I'm not saying that Brandon obviously doesn't only fish from shore because it's convenient, but he did also admit that he would not pass up the opportunity to fish from a boat.
But if you had to ask me which one was my favorite, I would tell you surf fishing every time. Not that I wouldn't pass up the boat, but I'd still say surf fishing.
But if you had to give up one or the other, you would lock yourself onto the shoreline and never use a boat again if you had to make the choice?
If we're talking strictly saltwater, yeah, I would do it.
But freshwater, no.
Freshwater, I don't think so.
We're talking
Saltwater,
both.
yes.
It's one choice for both.
Freshwater, I really, I'm a big trout guy too, so I don't have a freshwater boat. I have a canoe. That's enough for me for now.
I started out with a kayak, and then I upgraded to a small John boat, and now I got a 14-foot, V hull. And I mean, I probably wouldn't go back, but it's not like I got rid of the kayak. It still has its uses.
All right, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to get you off before Chris tries to drag your night out forever.
Sounds good, guys. But hey, anytime you want to come down to the beach, you let me know. We'll surf fish.
Probably never.
It'll have to be
something else one day.
I can't go on the boat.
You could do anything else you want to do on my boat. It's not that. Thank you,
Thanks,
dude,
guys.
for coming on.
Take care.
All right, so other than that, fishing report, Chris drove down to Cape May to go tog fishing. The trip was canceled due to bad weather. He had to drive back. He was bitching to me the entire day about it. Sounded horrible. I moved a tree stand in the rain. So we basically accomplished nothing.
Sounds equally terrible.
We do have our first viral video ever. We have an Instagram reel that's currently at 115,000 views, and it is of a fishing rod rack that I made in my garage. It is 47 seconds long.
I mean, social media is so freaking stupid. Like, I don't even want to talk about this. It's so weird.
It cost $14 to make it. 115,000 views. The Christmas party is 11 days away. Everyone is very excited. I do know at the current recording time right now, there is 4 tickets left. So
yeah, there was.
So if you're looking to get in, it's looking pretty slim. You got to move real quick now, because
and also please, if you said you were coming and your name is on the list and something's changed that you're not going to be able to go, you need to let someone know as soon as possible so we could open up that spot for someone who can definitely come.
Absolutely. I do agree. If your name's on the list, then you're not going to be able to make the party. If you let us know immediately, we could replace you. There might end up being people that do want to go that there's not room for. And if you just no-show, it'll just be bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why anyone would not want to. I would literally drop everything to get. I mean, we got
the prizes are crazy.
Donations for the prizes for the raffle are ridiculous. They just keep coming in.
They do. There's a $700 Avid 30 reel from Jigging World. I think Jigging World just gave 2 more rods too.
Oh my god!
There's a charter with Jerry Pastorino. There's
Well, not a chart, two open.
it's a
spots.
two open spots. Jerry Pastorino. There's a fishing opportunity to go 2 guys with Chuck Manny. Mike K's Guide Service. There's 2 trips from Aaron Graybill. Signal 11. We have a gift bundle. I mean, it's just there's countless stuff. We're giving shirts away.
Yeah, you didn't even go through like half of the stuff. I don't have the list.
No, I can't go through it all. I'm
you want to
just
see the list? Go on njfishing.com.
It is all there.
It's pinned to the top of the saltwater section. Just go in the saltwater forum. It's pinned to the top. All the prizes are there. It's updated as donations come in for the raffle, and I don't. It's gonna be awesome.
We are recording a special holiday episode tomorrow night with Andrew Still, if all goes according to plan. And we don't know exactly when that's going to air. We're obviously going to take maybe a week or 2 off for the holiday party and the holidays, but you will be getting the Andrew Still video sometime after this one.
Yeah, we're basically
pre-recorded.
We're gonna have the Andy Still episode.
It's the Andy Still Christmas special.
All right, whatever you want to call it. If you can get him to wear a Santa hat for the episode, we'll call it the Christmas special.
I'll never do it.
And other than that, we're waiting to hear back from Ted Nugent's people. See when.
Yeah, that's December 4th, which is today. So we probably should have heard that.
We're gonna hear back in the next day or 2, I'm sure. But whenever that is, it is. That's gonna be sometime in December. And that'll pretty much be it. That'll wrap us up. This episode and those 2 episodes will wrap us up.
So if we don't talk to you again, I'll talk to you on the Andrew Still one, but we'll see you at the Christmas party.
Yeah, hope to see a lot of you there. It's gonna be awesome, and that's about it.
Have a good night.